When you think of a last will and testament, what comes to mind? A solemn document, a final act of love, a way to ensure your loved ones are taken care of. But for one family, a single piece of paper ignited a firestorm, turning siblings into adversaries and leading to a multi-million-dollar legal battle that would tear their family apart. This isn't just a story about money. It's a story about family, betrayal, and the hidden resentments that can fester for years, only to explode when a will is read. The story begins with the patriarch, a self-made millionaire named Arthur Vance. He built his empire from the ground up, a testament to his grit and business acumen. He had 3 children, Robert, the eldest, who followed in his father's footsteps, joining the family business and working tirelessly by his side. Then there was Clara, the middle child, a free-spirited artist who chose a different path, much to her father's quiet disappointment. And finally, David, the youngest, the golden boy who could do no wrong in his father's eyes, even though he often drifted from one venture to another without much success. For decades, the family dynamic seemed stable, if a little strained. Robert felt the weight of responsibility, Clara felt like an outsider, and David enjoyed a life of relative ease. There, Father Arthur was a traditional man. He believed in rewarding hard work and loyalty. In his mind, Robert was the clear and deserving heir to the bulk of his fortune. He'd earned it. Over the years, Arthur made his intentions clear, at least to Robert. He had multiple conversations with his eldest son, assuring him that his dedication would be recognized. He even drafted a will in 2010 that reflected this, leaving the majority of his company's shares and properties to Robert, with smaller, yet still substantial provisions for Clara and David. To Arthur, this was fair. It was just. But here's where the story takes a sharp and unexpected turn. In the last few years of his life, Arthur's health began to decline. He became more forgetful, sometimes confused. He started relying more heavily on his youngest son, David, for daily care and companionship. Robert was busy running the company, and Clara lived in another state. David was there day in and day out. During this time, David began to subtly plant seeds of doubt in his father's mind. He'd mentioned how hard he was working to manage his father's affairs, how Robert was too busy with the company to visit, and how Clara was off in her own world. He painted a picture of himself as the sole dedicated son, the only one who truly cared for his aging father. What no one else knew was that David was quietly arranging for his father to see a new lawyer. In 2019, just a year before Arthur passed away, a new will was drafted and signed. This will was a complete reversal of the previous one. It named David as the primary beneficiary, leaving him with control of the company and the lion's share of the estate. Robert and Clara were left with shockingly small sums, a fraction of what they had been promised or expected. When Arthur passed away, the family gathered for the reading of the will. The air was thick with grief, but also anticipation. When the lawyer read the terms of the 2019 will, a stunned silence fell over the room. Robert was in disbelief. This couldn't be right. It went against everything his father had ever said to him. Clara was hurt, feeling once again like the forgotten child. David, however, looked somber but resolute, as if accepting a great and heavy burden. The shock quickly turned to suspicion, and then to anger. Robert immediately knew something was wrong. His father, in his final years, wasn't the sharp, decisive man he once was. He had good days and bad days. Robert was convinced that David had taken advantage of their father's vulnerability, manipulating him into changing the will for his own selfish gain. And so, the battle lines were drawn. Robert filed a lawsuit to contest the 2019 will, claiming that his father lacked the mental capacity to understand what he was signing and that David had exerted undue influence. This is a serious legal claim. To prove undue influence, Robert's legal team had to show that David had so much control over their father's mind that Arthur's own free will was completely overpowered. The legal fight became a brutal, public affair. Family secrets were unearthed and used as weapons in the courtroom. Lawyers for Robert presented evidence of Arthur's cognitive decline, including medical records and testimony from friends and caregivers who noticed his confusion. They painted a picture of David as a master manipulator who isolated his father, controlled his access to information, and poisoned him against his other children. David's defense team fired back with equal force. They portrayed Robert as a greedy, entitled son who felt the family fortune was his birthright. They argued that Arthur was of sound mind when he signed the new will, and that he had simply had a change of heart. They brought in their own witnesses who testified that Arthur had grown disillusioned with Robert's management of the company and had come to appreciate David's loyalty and care. They claimed Arthur wanted to reward the son who was by his side at the end, not the one who was busy in the boardroom. The case hinged on the concept of testamentary capacity. Did Arthur understand he was signing a will? Did he know the nature and extent of his property? Did he know who his family members were and how they related to him? Proving a lack of this capacity after someone has passed is incredibly difficult. The courtroom drama was intense. Emails and text messages between the siblings were read aloud, filled with accusations and vitriol. Friends of the family were forced to choose sides, their testimony often contradicting each other. The image of a once proud family was shattered, replaced by one of greed and betrayal. Clara found herself caught in the middle, her relationship with both brothers in tatters. She just wanted the fighting to stop, but millions of dollars were at stake. The trial dragged on for months, costing hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees. The emotional toll was immeasurable. The brothers, who had grown up playing in the same backyard, now couldn't even look at each other without contempt. In the end, the court faced a difficult decision. After weighing all the evidence, the judge delivered a verdict. The court found that while David had been heavily involved in his father's life, Roberts' team had not met the high legal standard required to prove undue influence or a complete lack of testamentary capacity. The judge noted that while Arthur's decision might seem unfair to some, the law protects a person's right to distribute their property as they see fit, even if it's on a whim or seems unjust. The 2019 will was upheld. David won the legal battle, but at what cost? Inherited the fortune, but he lost his family. The relationship with his siblings was irrevocably destroyed. Robert was left with a fraction of what he felt he deserved and a deep sense of injustice. Clara was left with a broken heart and a fractured family. The multi-million-dollar inheritance, which was supposed to be a legacy, became a curse. This story serves as a powerful, cautionary tale. It highlights the absolute importance of clear and open communication within families about inheritance. Hiding intentions or making last-minute changes in secret can create a recipe for disaster. It also shows the devastating impact that greed and suspicion can have, turning loved ones into bitter enemies. If you're creating a will, talk to your family. Explain your decisions. It might lead to difficult conversations now, but it could prevent a war later. And for families, remember that no amount of money is worth destroying the bonds that are supposed to be priceless. The Vance family learned this lesson in the most painful way possible. Their fortune was secured, but their family was lost forever. Thanks for watching. If you found this story compelling, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into fascinating legal cases and family dramas. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever seen a situation like this? We'll see you in the next video.